you go back in the 1980s, well, the estimate was around 75,000 lions in Africa. And most people say it's less than 23,000 now. They're estimating that the population is dropping 100 individuals per year.
There are a lot of challenges in this region, including wildlife conflict with humans, especially elephants. People live on the very boundaries, not much of a buffer zone, and there's constant conflict, which has just escalated with a population increase.
The okapi is really an indicator of environmental stability, because they need trees, they need functioning ecosystems, they need water and rainfall, and just like the people need the exact same thing. So when you see an environment getting degraded where there's no okapi, there's going to be not much for people either.
The biggest threats lions are facing is human population growth and habitat fragmentation, and especially out here, the Maasai population is really increasing, and of course the areas where they can live is becoming smaller and more congested.
The escalating price of ivory has driven more and more people to trade in it, especially to Far Eastern countries. And this is what has happened now is with available money from ivory sales, with the availability of weapons, because of all the wars in the Congo, people can buy weapons. So it empowers these groups to be bolder. They not only are killing elephants, they will rob and intimidate people, they will kill people, because now they have weapons, they have a superiority. And again, with a lack of a national policy and a national response to these kinds of problems, that's the issue we're dealing with now.
So we have to actually arm the rangers here to make sure that they can do their job and be safe. And there is enough conflict here that these guys occasionally get killed. It's that dangerous. So they're dealing with some really tough guys. These poachers that are out there killing elephants are bad news.
Do you get any sense? Are they checking every vehicle that comes through, like a big truck? Is every single vehicle looked at? So
for instance, last year they made a check here, and they could tell that the guys were acting a little bit odd. They were driving in an SUV. It wasn't a big truck, but they could tell, and they actually found that they had ivory in the back, and they weren't at work in the right way. So they do have the ability to do that, and maybe even that they're not going to check each vehicle, but at least if they're here, people will understand that they have the ability to check, and that already is a deterrent. The okapi is actually an endemic animal in the DR Congo. So it's only found here, and it is their national symbol of conservation. So we have tried to capitalize on that and use that to influence people to understand the need for conservation.
Koyeke Guiding School is one of the most unique schools in Kenya. One, it's community owned. It trains the local youth to understand nature, to understand conservation, to know more about the ecosystem. And again, we produce quality guides who are actually going there to improve guiding standard, talk to clients. So it's really a unique school of its own in the entire country.
This is about wildlife, but this is about humans too. And you can protect wildlife in other small conservancies, or you could give money to a hospital, you could send food aid. But if you're not preserving the resources that look after people and the resources that mean that there's business and economy will keep running, then you might as well give up anyway.
It's all about everyone working together. That's why it's important to go to primary schools and talk to the kids already then, because if you go now to a school you haven't been to before and you ask them, what do you think about lions, they will say immediately they shall be killed, because that's what they've been told by their parents. And they've never seen a lion. So going in there and talking to them about how lions can coexist, maybe take them for a ride, having them see lions, so they get used to the idea, and then when they become older, they become more keen on having lions around them, so they don't get this negative picture of lions and other predators.
When I came here 25 years ago, I really thought that I was going to save the animals here. I didn't care less about the people, pure and true. And I still care about the okapi and the wildlife the most. I mean, when we're here filming and talking, the whole time I'm looking at birds and watching the animals and listening to what's happening here. But I've come to realize that conservation is not going to work unless the people get involved. And to do that, you can use the wildlife to get them excited. And that's how we really figured out. And that's what I feel my main role is now, is to introduce people to wildlife and cool places and cool people and say, this is important. This is important to your life and it affects us and you, and we want you to be involved.